Do you hear anything? That is. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Some help. A Blazers
Um,
podcast.
Welcome back. To get this man set up, Sean, I have gone back into the studio with the good mic for this one,
ah,
and I want to ask you a question. Is there a thing? Is there when you were in trouble as a child?
mm-hmm.
I'm sure you never got in trouble, but the rare times that you
Yeah.
did your parents have a certain way they said your name or a different way a different thing they used? So like if I was in trouble, for example, my parents would say Timothy Scott Lane, you know?
Sure.
It's the whole word, it's the whole thing, the middle name comes in. Is there a thing that your parents used on you?
No, that my mom had us so dialed in, she would just cock her eyebrow, and we would immediately we could actually hear her eyebrow kind of crease up a
Uh-huh.
little bit, and it was done. Whatever we were doing, we stopped. Even to this day,
Okay.
I see someone go like that. Just a little subtle,
Uh-huh.
just
Yeah.
that.
That's all. So I
Yeah.
think we need to do that, the equivalent to Thomas Dundon,
I
because the hits keep coming for this man. We as a franchise are finally in the playoffs again. And the overarching story of it is how cheap can our owner possibly be? Now, we already covered the late checkout thing, but since then,
yeah.
it's come out that he wants to lowball the next coach. He doesn't want to spend more than $1.5 million, right? Which is
Right.
not the going rate for a coach.
No.
He didn't let the two-way players travel to the first playoff game.
Egregious.
Egregious.
The only team in the NBA that
Only
does
team.
not let their two-way players travel to the playoffs.
Wild. For a while, we were the only team that didn't have a G League team. Now we're the only team. Anyway, and it turns
Can I
out
just say
now.
just real quick
Yeah.
about that. One thing that I saw the story and I was like, what in the hell? Because especially like with Caleb Love, who was a part of the team. Like it wasn't like the two new guys, like, okay, maybe I can kind of understand.
Mhm.
But Caleb Love was a productive member of the team, and they just
100%.
didn't have the room to convert him. But as I was sitting there thinking about just how just terrible it, just how cheap and chintzy it is, they charter flights.
Yeah.
So basically, this is about not paying the per diem and maybe the hotel room. Like that's the big objection.
Yeah.
There's room on the plane.
Yeah.
Like the travel costs are covered. It's just they didn't want to pay them for lunch and the hotel room.
Well, to be fair, it is a heavier plane, so more fuel, more fuel cost.
I'm sure they've got a formula.
And with the straight hormones, you never know. You can save a little bit.
Yeah, those gas prices increased by 22%. Well, I mean, I guess 20th of 22%.
Sure.
Over the course of the long run, Tim.
Yeah,
that adds up to several tens of dollars. So
they also are not sending. They didn't send a team photographer or a digital reporter to the playoff game. This is the first playoff game we've had in so long, and they didn't even send our award-winning photographer.
Read
Bruce Eli.
The damn room.
Okay, this is a guy
who is respected. It's not like he's some intern off the street. Like he's a guy who could walk onto any other sports franchise probably tomorrow and find probably a better paying job at this point now.
So Dundon in his presser said, I'm addicted to winning. This is a man who did not send a scout to the Wolves-Timberwolves, the Wolves-Nuggets series, which, if we end up winning this first round thing, those are the teams we would play. Common practice would be scout those teams. And the final one, which is the most hilarious, is that they are not going to be providing T-shirts to fans who are attending the playoff game on Friday and Sunday to save money. Apparently, the cost just to get in the door for these playoff games is over $100, mm-hmm. and you're not giving fans even a T-shirt. And Shield Tile on Twitter said, "Hey, we're going to do something else." Sean, I want to know what else are they? What are some ideas they can do?
Moving the team to Boise. That's what they're going to do. They're going to move the team to Boise. The writing is on the wall.
Hand out just like headbands instead of T-shirts. It's less fabric.
Like a sticker
sticker day. Like a temporary tattoo.
Yeah, sure. If we can get if we can get our intern to crank out the Canva account quick enough, we're going to order some stick. It is just,
and they have the free version of Canva, right? So they're not even getting
the pro version. Yeah.
No. You can't do the background removal, so they're just stuck with what they're stuck.
Boy, I tell you, I can't believe I'm saying this, But I am actually starting to miss the days where sports teams were just vanity projects for like super rich assholes, as opposed to like sort of money making ventures for investors. Because they are just stripping every single dime they can out of this team. They're treating it like the Blazers were, next door to the Sears at the Lloyd Center Mall.
Yeah.
I mean, how can we just strip this down to the absolute nuts and bolts? And they just started, man.
This is like 3 weeks. Like this is
3 weeks into it.
Terrible.
You're just stripping the team down. Again, the first playoff series this team is. I don't want to hear any more about your boy Shield and I'm a Portlander and blah blah blah. No, clearly you're not, because this is not the point where you start. Basically, I just dismantling things.
You know how they could save some money? Why did they give everybody who bought the team Blazer half sips?
Oh well, how about that?
You could just say you take those away.
Yeah, sure.
Why did the owner's son, his like 9-year-old blonde son, get to sit courtside? That's a ticket that could have been sold.
That's a ticket that could have been sold. That's
You know what? I have come to accept that we are all going to live in some billionaires petty fiefdom, right?
Yeah, sure.
But why did we have to get the knockoff Rent-A-Center billionaire when we could have fucking Steve Ballmer, who at least is going to spend money?
I mean, again, an uber rich guy who clearly runs the Clippers like a vanity project. You know what I mean?
What you want.
That's I guess now who you want. I
guess so.
I mean, no, we're treating the Blazers like J.C. Penney's now, and it just fills me with such anger and such rage where I'm almost like, just go to Boise, just go. They'll give you $1 billion. They won't tax you anything. You can, build a stadium with no seats, just like the old benches. It just drives me. And the thing about it is, we are in the playoffs against a team that also has not been in the playoffs for 7 years. And just that opening scene with the Spurs crowd in the different T-shirt. My wife walked in and was like, "Damn, that's cool."
Yeah,
like it was cool.
The contrast
was just cool.
The contrast between one organization that's obviously run very well and the other organization who can't be bothered to buy us T-shirts. Are we kidding? So, you know what? It sort of feels like when your kid has a friend over and you say to the kid, "Listen, if you don't want the friend to play with any of your toys, choose the toys that you want to hide."
Sure.
And apparently, Dundon is like, doesn't want anybody to play with his toys, and these are my toys. I have a question for you. How much credit is he taking for the Blazers playing for him?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he's just everyone can feel the new energy in the building.
We beat the Suns because we had this,
which is good because we need the new energy to keep the heat on, because we're gonna we're gonna cut the boilers off. We're gonna need vibe heating from here on out. It's cheaper. It's more environmentally friendly. Sure.
I don't like vibe heating. I don't like how that sounds.
Come over here and stand by this vent.
Jump up and down for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sean, I don't want it to be. I don't want anybody to say that it's very easy to criticize, but we offer solutions here, Okay. Malcolm Brogdon taught us one thing, which is you come into a meeting with solutions. We're solutions oriented.
Yeah. Sure.
And so I have some ideas on how we can help save the Blazers some money. Okay. And I want to get your take on some of these. Okay. So here's my first idea. Only draft or sign players who have the same last name as existing players.
Sure.
Okay.
Uniform.
And then we can reuse uniforms.
Sure.
Okay. So we scoured Avdija's.
Absolutely.
We scout heavily the Youngs.
Oh, we got a Williams. That could be 8 to 10% of any draft class of any given year.
So we're targeting Caleb Wilson immediately.
Absolutely.
With this,
Yeah.
So we save some money there.
Okay.
Instead of doing a halftime show, okay, we just have an open pickup game.
Sure. Just bring people out of the crowd at random. Sure.
Yeah, and then then some guys down there I got next, and they're arguing about foul calls and stuff.
Yeah.
We don't need 2 mascots, right? So let's kill one of them.
Don't. I agree with that, actually.
Yeah. So you just axe one of them. It's probably the Sasquatch.
But I think if you're gonna do that, you spend a little bit of extra money and do it like Game of Thrones style.
Oh, sure.
You actually have them battle to the death.
Ooh, I like it. That's a halftime show too. That's called synergy.
That's
right? Yeah. There you go. Okay. I'm liking this so far. Okay. Here's one that's a little weird.
Okay.
You get away.
Other ones. Go away.
You take away the players' craft table, right? The craft services.
Sure.
Okay. They don't get food before the game. They don't get food during the game. They don't get food. There's no food. You save on costs. And instead of that, just like when you go to a strip club and the guy says, "Do you want to buy your performer a drink?" Right? And you pay for the drink.
Sure.
We would do that for the Blazers. So, like Scoot's like playing well. Would you like to buy him a Gatorade? He looks thirsty. And so we buy him Gatorades from an app on our phone.
Out of all your ideas, that is actually the one I can see is actually happening. Like you'll sit at your seat, and if you're impressed with their performance, you'll get them a drink token, a Gatorade token for after the game. A little chicken nugget gift certificate for after the game. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Deni's out of gum.
Crowdfunding the Blazers craft table.
Yeah, Deni's out of gum.
That's efficiency, brother. That's efficiency.
Okay. I have some more. I have a lot, actually. Okay. So, more. This morning. What I'm thinking is more logo patches in more places. Okay? Like, why do we only have one right here? Put it on the headband. Put it on the armband. Put it on the socks.
Sure.
Put it on the butt. Like, what if you guys had like a big old hand on the butt?
Yeah.
And it was like,
the official sponsor of this jersey's left inseam.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
We can get real micro with it. And in that vein, you can introduce more. You have like the Blazers have the warm up, and then they have like the shirt they wear over their thing when they're on the bench.
Sure.
Have some more of that, right? Like, why don't we have a special outfit for the second timeout? Why don't we have a special second half outfit?
Well,
and you can sponsor all these things.
Sure.
Exactly.
More layering. Yeah.
It's Pacific Northwest 101. You layer.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Instead of flying, just go back to buses. We used to ride buses places.
Yeah. You can get like maybe an electric bus.
Yeah.
Like have to pay for the gas. Just an electric bus. Buy a couple of old Amazon EVs.
Sure.
And refurbish them a little bit.
Yep.
Since you're only going to bring your players and maybe 3 coaches now. You're not going to worry about any of that pesky support staff. Don't worry about the trainers. They've got hospitals in Atlanta. You don't need to bring your team doctor.
No.
They got hospitals there.
Yeah. Tom's just going to pull up with a bunch of old Camrys and be like, guys, guess what? Road trip.
No, I think that's great. It's kind of like how the old professional wrestlers used to do it back in the territory days. Just get in your rental car and drive to the next town. We'll see you there.
We'll see you there. I hope you make it.
Call times at 5.
Yeah. Just don't ride with Damian Stoudemire or Rasheed Wallace. Or
maybe do.
Maybe do. Okay. This is my last suggestion. Why do we need a medical staff at all when we have ChatGPT?
Well, now see,
just give everybody subscription and they can craft their own recovery plans.
Sure. I mean, really, why coaches? Why scouts?
Why players? Maybe Tom could play.
Think about it.
Tom's like, I'm suiting up.
Sure. I mean, when you think about it, just the law of averages. I'm sure at some point, if you just picked, kind of like from your halftime pickup game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whichever team wins, that's going to be the Blazers starting 5 for the next game.
Yeah.
Give them some free, not t-shirts. We don't have any of those. Give them some free stickers and,
I'm sorry you wore jeans.
Drink tokens. Now you can play the Spurs.
I'm sorry you're wearing cowboy boots. You have to guard Kevin Durant now.
Yeah. That's the way it goes. I like it. I was going to say get rid of the red and white and just make the team color black.
All right.
And just save on the ink.
Because every color, there's like another charge there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And long term, Tim, every uniform, every sticker, every media piece you put out there, all those extra colors over the long term, costs stack up.
Dundon, call us up.
We'll save you all kinds of money, man.
We're idea machines.
Yeah. We will save you several dollars.
Several
of your precious dollars. We will save so many of those.
Do you think this is a long con for him to get money from the city? He's like, look, I obviously don't have so much money.
Yeah, man, I just don't know. It is really, you talk about the enshittification of things, and this is, it just is really something. It's just
crazy.
Really something. I mean, it would shock me if we're not going to move to like surge pricing for seats, shit like that. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. Do you want to stay in your seat for the second half? Click yes or no.
I mean, listen, Chauncey said he would come back.
Yeah.
For he'd renegotiate his contract. He'll come back for $250,000 a year. Let's do that.
The thing
insane. About it is, players talk about this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
agents talk about this kind of stuff.
Agents talk about this kind of stuff.
If you are an agent of a young player.
Yeah.
And you're deciding who you're gonna, hey, it's a fringe player who you're gonna decide. Well, if I go to the Blazers, I won't even be able to go to playoff games, and I'll have to share a room with 16 other people.
That's exactly right. And especially now that these guys are coming out of systems where they're making tons of money in college anyway. It's almost like the contract money is it is important. I'm not gonna say it's not important. It is important, obviously. But a lot of these guys are very much sort of lifestyle guys now. You know what? They want the nice locker room. That's why Dallas never has a problem with free, or at least Mark Cuban never had a problem getting free agents, because they knew they'd be treated well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They knew that the Mavs organization as a whole would take care. That's why the Warriors will never have a problem, because those guys are willing to spend the money.
Yeah,
and I mean this is basically like Donald Sterling without all the weird fetishes so far.
Well, we don't know yet.
Yeah. Not shaming anyone. Well,
I know.
He was
probably shaming
that guy, but yeah.
And the thing is that it's just the beginning, and he's
haven't been here a month, man. I keep coming back to this. And they're doing this in the middle of the first playoff run.
This is the best it's ever going to be.
Offseason's going to be like.
This is the best it will be until he flips us to some other billionaire.
Man,
he also strikes me as the kind of guy who's like, well, if they're talking about me, something's going good.
That's 100%. 100%. No, change is uncomfortable for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
As
he gets back into his, chauffeured Tesla or whatever. Yeah. All right. There was a basketball game that was played.
Oh, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they let them have an actual basketball.
Well,
have to play with we borrowed San Antonio's ball for this
one. We borrowed San
Antonio's
Antonio's ball, and we were able to Uber. Everybody had to Uber themselves to the arena.
I mean, this is like Russian army stuff, rather than World War II, where they'd send them out, and the guy'd be like, "Sir, I don't have a gun," and the officer would be like, "Well, wait long enough, you'll get one."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
John, always making light of human life.
You don't have any shoes.
It's too soon. It's too soon. It's too soon, Sean.
Sorry.
All right, listen.
Sorry.
It's going to be a photo leaking pretty soon of Deni on public transit. It's a game, and he gets lost or something. Come on.
But yes, they did play a basketball game.
They played a basketball game.
They did play a playoff basketball game. Huh?
What'd you think?
I think the game plan was pretty solid.
Yeah.
They did. They went right after Wemby for the most part. Deni and Scoot went right after Wemby. They went right into his chest, which is
I could have used a little more, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, they should have done a little more. I think the problem is they just couldn't hit a shot. They were taking a lot of really bad shots, really bad shots. And it's weird because when you play a team that's as good defensively as the Spurs, you can't take bad shots against that team. You can't. And Tumani threw up some things I think he instantly regretted.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday, who is, as we talked about, a bad shot maker a lot of the time, took some kind of unwise shots. Shaden Sharp looked real nervous. He looked real uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But Deni and Scoot.
I was just going to say, who didn't look uncomfortable is Deni and Scoot.
The thing with Scoot, you were almost like, man, like loosen up the chain a little bit, get after it a little bit more. But I do think he's at the point in his career where the moderation is good for him.
Maybe.
Even in the long run, to be able to go into a playoff game and have a lot of energy and still be like, I'm gonna be a little more conservative. I'm gonna take my time, be a little more patient. I think is a good sign long term.
Yeah, this is a real good defensive team, and Scoot shot 7 for 11.
Yeah.
And my thing with it was
he wasn't forcing shots.
He wasn't forcing shots, but I think if you're shooting 7 for 11, you get a little bit of license. And there was 2 or 3 drives where he had the angle and he could have gone all the way and he kicked it out. And those are the kind of things that you want him to be a little bit more aggressive with, because if Wemby's not there, just go ham. Go in there and go nuts, because you might as well. Speaking of that, though, there was this, Deni played great the whole game, as always. But there was this shift I saw. I don't know if you noticed it. The game toward the end of the fourth quarter, it was basically kind of out of hand. But right when it kind of got out of hand, you saw Scoot and Deni be like, well, fuck it. Let's try a little bit. Let's get in the teeth a little bit. Let's challenge Victor a little bit and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of vibes that I hope we're going to carry over to the next game, because that's how you make Victor a little nervous. He is a freak, and aesthetically, I know you hate watching him, and I also
those step back 3-pointers. Yeah. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, for 7'4", moving like that, shooting like I can't take it. It's just too much.
But I hope that energy that I saw there is, make it tough on him a little bit more.
Well, the thing about it is, and this is the kind of terrifying thought, is Victor Wembanyama is never going to be more beatable than he is right now, because he's not even in his man body yet. You know what I mean? Like, even in his, he's not fully grown. He's not fully developed. He's still a skinny kid, and you can push him around now. And I just think, like you said, you gotta get into him, give him the work. It was working when they were actually getting into him. They were having some success, and they, like I said, he's still kind of, awkward.
Well,
duckling enough that you can push him around a little bit.
Push
him around.
And there's a little bit, and there were some shots that went up from 2 and one from Deni that they were just like, I need to throw this approximately the height of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
To get it over the top of him.
Yeah.
And you could just see them kind of in their own heads in that way. And he had that block on Shaden where then he ended up like falling on top of Shaden, and there was no foul call, which is like so bizarre. It's like, that was like, and there's another play where him and Scoot are going for a loose ball, and he has both hands on Scoot's back as Scoot is crawling, and he's like a sewer monster. Somehow he's like going to grab him back into it, and they're like, no, it's just like loose ball. It's like, that's a fucking foul. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. He's already getting some benefits from the refs, and like I said, I actually in Wemby's situation, I imagine as a referee, it's really hard to call.
Sure. What I mean? Well, even that overturned call where Scoot went up for the rebound.
Yes.
They called it in real time, and then on replay, it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he's just, his arms are long enough that he literally just sort of reached his arm underneath and sort of behind, like a bogan.
So
I just hate watching that, man.
We were kind of feisty there, and we cut it within one in the fourth quarter or third quarter, and meanwhile, we shot 26% from three.
Just could not hit a shot.
We took 38 of them.
Yeah, I know.
So you make 5 more, and it's a different ballgame.
Yeah. No, and well, the thing about it, and I do want to, I mean, San Antonio did not play a great game either.
Yeah.
They also did not shoot as well as they want to shoot. But if you look at the numbers, the Blazers
they shot 45% from
fewer turnovers and more assists. And generally, when the Blazers can do fewer turnovers and more assists, that's a win.
Yeah.
They got out rebounded, but they kept Wemby off the boards. When you get a guy 7'4" move like that, and you hold him to 7 rebounds, that's a victory. And to do that, you kind of have to sacrifice Klingon a little bit, because instead of him becoming your primary rebounder, you're basically telling him, don't let this other guy get the rebound. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a trade-off. But yeah, I mean, their game plan, I think, was pretty good. They just got to hit some shots. And other guys, I think we're at the point where Deni is going to be Deni. And I think that his numbers have borne out the fact that he's going to get his, but he's also a good distributor of the ball. Like, he understands, okay, when they start collapsing on me, I'm going to start kicking the ball out. And so I do think that if you're a guy on that team not named Deni or Scoot or maybe Drew Holiday, don't try to create your own. Don't go freestyling. Just don't let the game come to you. You know what I mean? Be ready for the open shot. Don't go trying to create stuff yourself, because it just was not working. Especially towards the end, like when the game kind of started getting away from them, they just started hucking stuff up. Like, no, you just kind of stay disciplined, which again is something that teams have to learn. This is how you become a playoff team, is learning how to be disciplined, how to keep your cool when things get, when it looks like things are falling apart. You don't just sort of open up the floodgates. You kind of tighten up a little bit. But I was very impressed. I thought it was going to be, it was going to be kind of, like the Suns game, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be a blowout.
So, they held Wemby to 5 rebounds, and he had 35 points, but it wasn't, I feel like that's about as good as you're going to do on him. I feel like the people that really hurt us were their role players. Like, it seemed like every time we were going to get some momentum, all of a sudden there's like Luke Cornett finishing an alley-oop, or there's Devin Vassell hitting like 3 3-pointers in a row, and and you have, like, if you're if you're, and I understand because you're working so hard to keep Wemby out of the action, that the other people are going to get these kind of options. But that's just the situation you find yourself in. You're going to have to like be able to take it to those other guys a little bit more. And like there was a few times where there was like a very significant rebound that we didn't get, because all of our attention was on Wemby, and then all of a sudden, they get an easy 2 or whatever. So, we have to be better with that. But it was a spirited thing. And like Scoot, I just was so impressed with Scoot. Like so impressed with Scoot. The moment was not too big for him.
No.
And, he was a lot of time matched up against Stephon Castle. He had that steal from Wemby, and it was a foot race between him and Castle. Yep. And Castle is lauded for being an athletic guy, and Scoot just had a beat. Yep. There's nothing he could do. And you got to take it. You are faster running without the ball than with the ball, and Scoot still got him, which is so encouraging to see. And he played the meaningful minutes down the stretch. He wasn't benched in the hard stuff. Mm-hmm. And you got to hope you're going to get a little bit more from Shaedon. You got to hope you're going to get a little bit more from Donovan. And then maybe there's a game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I am. Donovan does not have the offensive skill set. I mean, he's got the 3-point shot. You would love to see a couple of those go down. And I think, he's been shooting not bad, But yeah, like I said, if getting a little bit of decreased production offensively and on rebounds is the trade-off for, and the thing about Wemby, a good chunk of his points came on shots that you're kind of okay with him taking. You know what I mean? Yeah. It wasn't like he was just killing them in the box. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was making a lot of seriously difficult shots. I mean, some of the stuff he was putting up was just like, okay, like there's just no. If you are 4 steps behind the 3-point line and Rob Williams is in your face with a hand in your face and you hit that, you kind of have to take that whatever. Okay. What? Cool. Let's see if he can do that consistently through the next 3 or 4 games.
And if he can, it's like you tip your hat. There's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you're going to do about that. And kind of like you said, I would like to see them get to a place where they work from a place of sort of acceptance. Like, we're going to give him the step back 30-foot 3-pointers. But we're not gonna, we're let him have that and maybe still be able to focus a little bit more attention to if he misses, who's going to get the rebound. You know what I mean? You don't have to go 110% defending those kind of crazy shots. Right. But other than that, I think they did a really good job containing him in closer to the basket. I think they did a really, really as good as you're going to get for a guy with that kind of skill set, man. I just, But yeah, like I said, now that they've seen it in practice, I'm hoping it will lend itself to, okay, we kind of have a game plan for Wemby. Now let's remember that they do have 4 other players who are also NBA players.
It was sometimes. The tip your cap element to Wemby is just like, he is the best player on the planet, and not only that, he knows he is. And when Donovan would get switched on him on the perimeter, his eyes just lit up, and he was like, "Goodbye!" Like he's gonna cross that. And there's, poor Donovan. You're born in the body God gives you. You can't do things your body won't do. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
And like I said, I do think that the sort of Rob Williams Tumani combination of them kind of switching off, it was almost like, Captain America and Iron Man beating on Thanos in that movie. You know what I mean? You just kind of have to let them try their best. We might see less of Donovan. But like I said, if Donovan's in there and he's just, if all he accomplishes in the game is putting his body on Wemby and wearing him out a little bit, and kind of keeping him at least sort of physically outside of the box as much as he can, that's a job well done. That's a job well done.
I would almost be tempted to match Donovan's minutes with Luke Cornett's minutes and just be like, listen, like, shut this guy down. Shut this guy down. Because, like, Cornette and Wemby don't overlap. No. And I almost felt more, like, at ease when Wemby was playing, because you knew what was coming. You saw where the punch was going to come from. Yeah. And you kind of brace yourself for it. When he was on the bench, they had this, like, absolutely terrifying committee of, like, young guards who are just, like, just more than happy to stab you, a million different ways. And they share the ball really well. They're super well coached. So I had a question for you.
Okay.
How do you feel? Were you aware that the Spurs showed up in matching suits?
Yes.
Matching custom suits paid for by Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah.
He's like, listen,
He's made a lot of money for nothing over the years. No disrespect to Kelly Olynyk. He is living a good life.
He said to himself, "I'm living. The game has given me so much. Now it's time for me to get back to the game."
That's right.
By buying everybody a custom suit.
Yeah.
He said, "Wemby, what's your size?" He said, 38 triple extra long, and they gave it to him. What did you feel about this?
Well, my first response was, by God, that's a lot of fabric.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fabric takes to cloak that body. Listen, that is veteran leadership. That is a guy who has played on winning teams and knows that the way to kind of keep their guys excited and engaged is to do this fun kind of stuff. And it also takes a little bit of the anxiety out of it. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to have a good time with it. We're going to have fun with it. I think that is an outstanding veteran move.
Yeah.
By Kelly Olynyk. I respect the hell out of that. I think it just, again, it's a tale of two organizations. The Blazers are having to pay for their own uniforms at this point. And Kelly Olynyk's buying the guys nice,
And the Spurs organization has inspired Kelly to be so selfless that he's buying. He's like, I know my organization is going to take care of me.
100%.
I'm going to eat when I get home. And meanwhile, Dundon sending them like packs of top ramen, saying, "Great job."
Well, boys, ketchup is technically a vegetable.
You can crack an egg in anything, and all of a sudden it's a meal.
Exactly right.
Oh my God!
Ramen you can eat.
Dundon is.
You got to pay for the eggs, though.
He's the father sending the kid off to college for the first time. He's like, "Listen, I'm not going to bail you out every time.
Yeah, I'm not going to bail you out anytime.
Yeah, here's a box of Power Bars.
Yeah,
enjoy. All right." It's a little goofy, the suit thing, but I think, it's the Beatles did it, and for a while, and now the Spurs are doing it. It's fine, whatever.
Listen,
I mean, are they going to wear another suit tomorrow? Yeah.
The energy in that stadium, the Spurs stadium, was unmatched.
Yeah,
I mean, the visual production was there.
Yeah.
The players were clearly having a great time. It's a good organization. It's a well-run organization.
Yeah.
Like, David Robinson and Tim Duncan sitting out there like proud uncles.
I was just going to say.
Let me say something, man.
Yeah.
It's your first playoff game in 7 years. You walk out on the floor, you got the entire crowd in their sort of matching coordinated outfits. You look over and you see Tim Duncan and David Robinson kind of giving you the nod.
Manu Ginobili's up there in the second row.
Yeah, he's giving you the warm-up speech, in the locker room.
He's grabbing bats out of the air.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. You just can't beat that.
Yeah, the Spurs ownership was like, one T-shirt. Try 3.
Yes, exactly. Like, how can we listen? This demand, and this is a team that could, theoretically, if they wanted to, they could go Chicago Bulls style and just coast on the legacy, and just do nothing, in terms of the future, and still consider themselves, a top franchise in sports history. Yeah, but here they are. How can we make this extra special? How can we make it extra special?
And they're not like a terribly bigger market than us. I mean, they're they have these sponsorships from the local grocery store chain. What is it, HEB or HEB? But obviously they inspire a lot of loyalty. They have all those players back. I love those little cutaways to Duncan and Robinson just sort of being like, what the like watching Roman do all the things, which was great. There's that one guy who was in the fuchsia section, but he was wearing a yellow shirt.
Yeah, I saw
What's
him.
the story there?
I don't know. I'd like to know. I would
love to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think he got lost?
Maybe so. He's like,
where's my family?
Yeah, where's guys? What guys? It's like you get to the airport and sorry, sir, we had to assign you a different seat.
Maybe it's a Home Alone situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe he bought the wrong night, and the Spurs organization is like, wear this on this night, wear this on this night, and he's
maybe so. We were trying to figure out the sort of logistics of that. Do you pick up the shirt after you walk in the building? They.
No, I think it's the classic. You lay it over the seat back.
You think so?
And you show up and it's there.
Right.
They don't have. If you've ever been to a game, it's all extra large and large. It's just there's a rare medium in there, so everyone's just wearing oversized shirts.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, you and I are great. It's like this is perfect.
Well, I mean, everything's an extra medium on me, so
exactly extra medium.
everything is extra medium for me, pal. That's it. But I guess the good news is we'll never have to worry about it as Portland fans.
No.
So
no.
Hey,
they're gonna say,
bring your own shirts.
They're gonna say if you want a playoff shirt, we have a table in the concourse set up with a bunch of puffy paints we got from the local school district. You can make your own shirt.
Yes, the YMCA booth back there.
Half of them are dried shut. You're hitting the bottle, trying to get it out. God damn it. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about, unless you had anything else.
I'm just so mad. I'm just so goddamn mad.
I know. Okay. Now, this is going to sound perhaps ungenerous.
Okay.
But the halftime show, you have a bunch of guys up there.
Yeah.
Who haven't actually won it.
Yeah.
Talking about what it takes to win it.
Yeah.
And I feel like you got to have at least one who's won it. Like that's why Haslam was the Haslam.
Udonis Haslam.
Udonis Haslam. That's why in the Amazon show, it was like, okay, this guy knows. Dirks doesn't say a word, but when he does, you listen.
Yeah, because he's a guy who's he knows. Yeah, it's kind of one of the tension points of the the old TNT show that was fun. Is like Kenny and Shaq looking at Charles Barkley, being like, "What the hell do you know about winning a championship?" And there's nobody there on that NBC team to do that. Like Amazon. Again, I have no love for Amazon, but they're paying money for winners, which is it's clear that they went out and said we want winners on our panel.
So and they're all wearing black across the whole thing. It looks like a funeral kind of. I feel like
I'll put this. It's clear that the people putting these shows together are sort of people our age who loved basketball when they were kids and are just now like they're basically putting their favorite basketball cards out on the floor and being like, how cool is this? Like, I get to tell Carmelo Anthony what to do now. You know what I mean? It's kind of the sense I get. They're just like, which again, it's got to be something, I suppose. Like,
I mean, they're all. I mean, it's Tracy McGrady, it's Vince Carter, it's. I mean, they're great players, undeniably great. I just think that there's something to be said about if you're going to have some insight and some wisdom, there's a certain level. There's levels to this. There's levels to this. Yeah. But whatever. It's all good. Do you have anything else?
I'm just so damn mad.
Got it.
I am very upset.
Well, we're going to end on
just be cool, new ownership guys.
Just be cool for like 5 seconds, dude. Like,
just let us have the moment.
Finish the season. God. Like, roll this out slowly,
Yeah. I promise you we're not going to be in the playoffs that long. We're talking about maybe 3 away games tops. Just pay for the late checkout. Bring the photographer.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did Damian pay for his own flight?
So
why is Damian there?
So no, listen. You're bringing up a very important question. I was actually thinking about that because we know for a fact that Damian is a very frugal person.
Yeah.
Very frugal person. But we also know for a fact that he does not appreciate cost cutting when it comes to he doesn't want to be on a team that's frugal. He wants to be frugal, but he does not want to be on a team that's frugal. He wants a team that's going to spend the money to win. And I would love to be able to have a 100% strap him to a polygraph test one-on-one with Damian Lillard and get his thoughts of. And I'll tell you what it was. Caleb loved not being on that plane. I know I know for a fact that bothers him. I know for a fact that is. Yeah, I know for a fact because he has been in the league now for what 14?
Yeah,
Damian, 13, 14
long
years.
Time. Don't listen. The second you bring up numbers, we get comments in the field being like, "That's not."
Oh, is that right? Well, sorry guys.
You know what?
Damian Lillard is either 30 or 40 years old. He's been around the league either 5 to 20 years. My point is this: he's been not just with Portland, Milwaukee, but he knows he talks to the other guys and they talk about stuff like this. They talk about the craft tables. They talk about the locker rooms. They talk about the training facilities. It's not the end all be all, but they talk about this kind of stuff. And when you're talking to your friend or your fellow players, and you're like this rookie that had this sort of semi-breakout season and helped us win games, they wouldn't even let him on the plane to come to the game in San Antonio.
Right.
I mean, it's just so shitty. It's just so shitty. And again, just because they don't want to pay the per diem and the extra hotel room.
We used to have this joke for the longtime listeners of the pod.
Oh, man.
About how Damian would have a post-game treat of a single almond, and he'd put it up on his mantelpiece. But it'd be funny if Tom sent him an email being like, almond, like with the amount of water it takes to water the tree, we can no longer provide you almond.
No longer provide you.
Okay,
with the bag of almonds for the season.
Speaking of, in the comments last week, there was a thing about how we were criticizing Deni's clutch free throws, and somebody was like, "Well, he shoots 80%." Sure. Okay, they had a technical foul call, and they let Deni shoot the free throw, and I knew immediately he is going to miss this free throw.
Yeah.
I am not knocking Deni as a player. Deni is a next world player. I hope he retires as a Blazer. I love him, and he will get there. But if you're the coach, you got to know. Listen, we have Shaden Sharp out on the floor at that time. We have these other players who can shoot this free throw. Deni, just for whatever it is, if it matters, it's gonna go 1 for 2. He's gonna miss one. It's gonna, I just don't feel comfortable with it. And I know the stats say he's 80%. I'm just saying anecdotally, it's not a comfortable experience.
Here's my counterpoint to that, and I agree. Sure. As soon as I saw him on the line, I was like, "Oh shit, here we go."
Yeah, we're gonna miss this. You knew it.
No, I mean, well, and I always expect the worst. You know what I mean? But I was just like, out of all the guys on the floor, why is he? And I was like, well, who else is on the floor right now? And what's going on? But I will say this: is it worth trading the point for just sort of cementing the fact that you are the guy? You are my guy. You are the guy. You are Portland's guy. You're the leader of the team. Here it is. And I think that Deni is well put together enough as a sort of adult that he appreciates that and doesn't, clearly it didn't affect him in the long run. You know what I mean? He still played like the guy. And so, I mean, yes, it was 1 point. Okay, if the game had maybe been a little closer, we may have been like, but I think that Thiago understands that, Drew could have taken it, even though he's not, that much better of a free throw shooter. Scoot could have taken it, but you put the ball in the hands of your guy. It's an important clutch moment here.
Sure. It's a sign of respect. It's a sign of respect. I understand that. And I know why they did it. I'm just saying overall, I would love to see him hit free throws when they matter.
I will say this though. I think that maybe it'll come to find out that he's been playing a lot more hurt than he's let on.
Yeah.
Because I have noticed that even the mechanics of his shot have been a little weird, a little bit not. And again, he is an all NBA caliber player. He is the man who needs the help. End of period, point blank. It's not a criticism. It's just sort of like, you see things. You see things and you notice things. And, to his credit, I do think that he is playing in some amount of discomfort just from the way he's kind of looking. And like I said, his form is a little herky-jerky more than it normally is. Like I said, not a criticism. Just pointing that out, and more power to him for going out there and just what maybe I would have loved to have seen. We don't have the budget for it now, but I would love just hook these guys up to what do they call them, pedometer?
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to know a running total. I would actually, if there were an overlay on my TV where you could see how many miles these guys are running per game.
I mean, they track all that, and then Haberstroh sometimes will be like,
I mean, that funny you mention that. But I did. So we talked a little bit about this, about how at the end of the last regular season game, it seemed like Calabro was kind of an emotion. He was kind of emotional. You could hear it in his voice. And one of the things we didn't get to talk about was Haberstroh also, they kind of made it sound like it was a foregone conclusion that he was not coming back. Yeah. It was almost like a final goodbye.
Yeah.
Are you in favor of that? Did you like Haberstroh?
He's a little tryhard, and I don't know. I'm trying to think about what he added to my experience. I'm trying to put on my Dun cap. Okay.
Mm-hmm. No, don't put on your Dun cap. Well, you know what the answer is going to be then. I guess he's calculating the amount of bandwidth it takes.
Yeah. He's like, wait, we had to send him a
lower our
Are you
Xfinity bill
kidding
by
me? You know what printing costs are for backdrops?
Yeah.
For quality? No. He seemed to be well liked by Calabro and Hurd, and so there must be something there that I don't see. I'm not in love with him.
Okay.
What about you?
So I am generally not an analytics person. I am not someone who likes the sort of deep dive stats. On Thursdays after 8 p.m., out of all the left-handed shooters who favor a more elbow out form, this guy, that it's a little tedious for me. But I do think he played kind of. The thing about it is he would come up with all this stuff, and Kevin Calabro would kind of treat him like almost like your teenage son who's discovered Bob Dylan for the first time. It's kind of like it was endearing. It was endearing to me.
When he was good
with all his
when he was good, it was really good. I think there was too many times where it was a joke, and I was like, listen, like, you're not here to be funny. Like, I don't need to know how many games it would take Deni Avdija to run to the moon, which is one of the stats they do.
Like, those are the stats I actually like. How many missions has Toumani Camara taken this season?
So we're different because I don't need to know it's going to take him 95,000 years to run to the moon. Like, that doesn't add to my experience. Like, but I think he's a nice guy. I think they obviously like him. So but the thing is, like, he's definitely not coming back. Like, then we're paying him what for what? No, and I do think, but I think Haberstroh gave us sort of a national cred, right? Because he's a respected person, and obviously the place where he's really good is on podcasts. If you ever listen to him interviewed on a podcast, he's amazing. But I just think he needs more runway than they give him.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that's probably true. Yeah, well, the good news is we're gonna get like an AI version of him, Tim Haberstreet. Just okay. I'm just having a tough time.
They're going to say, hey, listen, Caleb, if you would like the privilege of traveling with the team, you must do Haberstreet's job.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. So he just stands up on the end of the bench and he's like, listen,
what
guys,
I would love to see is just, I know we don't do this generally, but as a sign of solidarity, I would love the veteran players to like rent the kids, the G League or the 2A guys, their own hotel rooms. Just as kind of a fuck you.
I know. I was just going to say that.
Just as kind of a, because I cannot, like I said, the two guys that they just signed, I still think, because the thing about it is, like, if you're going to have these guys on your roster, part of the point is to make them better. You know what I mean? You're signing them to a 2A contract to kind of develop them. And there's no, like, why withhold this experience? Like, if you want to kind of sort of develop winners into your organization, why hold them back from the winning point? It just doesn't make any sense to save what is ultimately going to be, even if you factor in insurance and taxes and all this stuff. How much money do you think you're saving with those three guys? Like $1,000 a head? I don't know what the per diems are like.
$5,000. I don't know.
Suppose $10,000. Suppose you're saving $10,000.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
You think Tom's like that guy, like me or you when we bought our first house, and we're like, what? You got to pay this, and you got to pay this, and I got to pay for the leasing fund.
Look at all these fees. What is going on here?
You mean I need insurance?
Oh my!
What are we talking? You think Tom's just like, what the? Okay, we're not gonna have any fun, kids. We're no more eating out. Like,
you gotta tighten our belts.
What do you seem to fit just fine. I'm not buying you another pair of shoes.
I just cannot believe it. I just cannot get over it. Like we were joking before we started. Like should we come on, or should we wait for more? Every 15 minutes getting these updates, these cost cutting measures.
Yeah.
I just, should we just start renting kayaks and let them sort of boat up and down the Willamette?
Yeah, that's a good cross training.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, we don't need a practice gym anymore.
No.
We've sold it. And now you guys are just going
to kayak. Have you looked at all the great equipment nature provides you?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be the first team in the world who has an injury report because we lost somebody to rough seas. Sorry, Matisse couldn't make it.
It wouldn't be Matisse.
We have him cross-trained into a Willamette. Like, what are we doing?
Oh, it just
He couldn't
absolutely.
wait a month? Like, wait till the off-season. Like what are we doing?
It's not going to be that long of a postseason.
What? We just got here.
Let the guys have their little dance.
Oh my God. We don't even have a draft pick this year.
No.
Do you think that signing a two-way player might be an important aspect to our offseason plans?
How much money they're going to save not having to send Brandon Roy to the lottery, ball ceremony. You know what I mean? I mean, think of the savings there.
Tom's like, we sent my parakeet. We're going to hold a lottery of people who are already in the room,
right,
to come up and sing.
Yeah, we got on TaskRabbit and said, "Hey, listen, anyone in the greater New Jersey area with a Blazers T-shirt."
Do you think Tom's a flying coach?
No.
Do you think he's having any sort of?
No. I'm sure those guys all have their own private plane. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they were now flying on the team plane.
You know what?
Honestly, God, it wouldn't surprise me.
Did you ever watch Westworld?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like Ed
Harris. Yes,
Ed Harris in Westworld.
He does.
Sort of,
except Westworld, they spent the money. Man, they didn't spend it wisely, but they were spending.
Oh, they spent money.
Yeah,
we're gonna get a final season because they spent money. We're not gonna get a final season because we don't spend money.
But that's the thing. I mean, this Tom Dundon, he's like that HBO guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what they're doing. Like, we're just gonna cut out all the content that you watch. We're gonna raise the subscription prices for an inferior product, and then we'll be shocked.
He's gonna be like, listen, guys,
when the team doesn't.
We've decided we're not gonna play half the games. We're gonna forfeit half the games. Okay, it saves on cost.
That's right. And
we're better rested for when we play.
That's right. So the games we do play,
so we will perform better games.
That's efficiency.
We gotta get out of here. We're gonna have
we
too
probably
long.
should.
Listen,
we're like 40 seconds away from me just screaming.
Scoop gets the honor to be played out today. I loved it. Loved everything about it. Thanks, Puma Distortion. Puma Distortion.
He's going to be great in
Puma Distortion.
Atlanta next year, wherever he signs.
Yeah, we're losing Puma Distortion by association.
And the good news is we won't have Caleb Love either. So that, well done, Tom Dundon.
Is there a printer going off?
That my printer agrees. My printer agrees wholeheartedly, 100%. It just printed out a sign that said "Dun Dun 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 sucks." That's what it's doing right now.